Hello, everyone. Welcome to our DealMachine webinar. I see 18 of you are on here. If you could please drop your name, where you're from. We'd love to hear it. Dakota and I, I'll introduce him. Dakota, he is our, well, Dakota, what are you now? Are you still the same thing?
Member trainer, customer success manager, many hats, many a hat.
Many a hat. And then we have AJ in the chat that is going to be answering anybody's questions specifically about DealMachine software. So definitely put those questions in. And then if I had a drum, I'd be drum rolling right now. We've got Marc Mason here joining us from
Massachusetts.
Yes.
Hello, everybody.
So super excited to have everyone on here. Okay, we got Amanda from Jackson, Tennessee. Oh, nice. Seattle, Jersey, love it. We got a lot of A names in here.
All over the country.
I love it. Yeah, so we'll be going through kind of what we're going to be doing on this webinar for you guys. We got Louisiana, Baltimore, nice.
Nice.
Hey, another Massachusetts.
Oh, where we at?
Connie. Oh, we got another one. Man, you got your people here.
Right?
All right. So just so you guys know kind of the outline of what's going to be going on here, we're going to be talking to Marc about his background, how he got into real estate investing, what he does. I know you guys are looking forward to talking about how he does flips and his processes with that, as well as I'd really like to dig in on how he does I'm sorry, you're right here, but how you do your social media and how you leverage that in your business as well. And then we're going to be doing a live Q&A. So guys, there's a little chat box over that says Q&A only. If you go in there and type in your questions, we will be bringing you up, and or Dakota will be saying your questions live. So Marc can answer all of your questions here. We really try to get everybody in. Man, we do have a lot of Massachusetts people here. All right. Iowa, Vegas. All right.
Andrew's part of my team. Andrew.
Oh
there.
Welcome, Andrew.
He's the man behind the media, actually.
Oh, really? Well, you better know all the things that he'll be checking you and be like, well, actually, Marc.
He's checking on me.
Yeah. All right, guys. So we're going to get started. So, just kind of getting into things, I skipped through this, but if you want to, I'll be showing this at the end, but if you want to go ahead and connect with Marc, you can follow him and his company. They do have about 15,000 followers, which is super impressive. So again, just really excited for you guys to just get to ask your questions to Marc and everything like that. So I'm going to take these down. Okay. Marc, tell us about how you got into real estate investing and what kind of investing you do.
Well, so I'll start with, I do fix and flips and buy and holds, residential. I haven't really gotten much into commercial yet, but, I started back in, I really started when I was a kid. I was, hustling candy bars and, stuff like that in high school, Nextels. Anybody born in the 90s, Nextels. I had that drive and that ambition. So what happened was I ended up taking plumbing for a vocational in our vocational school in this area. So I took up plumbing, got out of high school, and I got a full-time job, started working, the 9-to-5 grind, and I started doing side work, trying to get some side money. And I started working for a lot of real estate investors like us. And, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I feel like I could do this, and then you kind of doubt yourself, that little guy in the back of your mind's like, I'll keep it going. I'm making good money on the side job. And then I got pushed around a little bit by a real estate investor. I remember it being like 9 o'clock at night. I'm under a sink, and, he was just having a bad day and comes in, he kind of like takes it out on me. And I'm like, you know what? I feel like I could have done this job 100 times better than him, and cleaner and faster. And this guy's really busting my chops right now. So long story short, I signed up for a fortune builders course out of Providence, Rhode Island. And I took a whim. I called out of work on Friday. And I sat on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. It was a free course. I think it was free. I believe, or it was $29, one of them. And I took the course. I recorded it on my iPad, and I went to town. I did research. I listened to it multiple times, and then I figured out what Bigger Pockets was, went over that, and then just got into podcasts, and I'm pretty well known around my town, so that's how we got into it. And I landed my first deal. I bought my first house in 2014. I think I was 21 years old. And my first flip, I think a year and a half after that, which was word of mouth deal. So
that's awesome. And so from there, like, what does your business look like now? Or I should say businesses, because as we talked the first time, I found out you have more than one business. So yeah. What does that look like?
So, it was tough. So, I got that first flip. I believe I made about $75,000 off the first flip, and it was just it was coming into that hot time where it was like 2014, 15ish, and you come in, and I bought this property that was it was word of mouth. What happened is I always kept everything close to my chest, and what I realized was the more people know, the more people can refer you, and they know what you do and they want to support you. So I got this deal word of mouth. I didn't do anything to it. I bought it and then sold it to another investor. And I'm like, ooh, I like how this works. So it was history after that. I'm like, I think I'll probably up to, I've gotten probably 10 or 12 deals under contract this year already. So I'm probably up to like in the 90s right now.
That's awesome. If I had my bell right now, I would be ringing it.
Ding.
So let's all just, virtually ring the bell. So yeah, go on. I want to know how your team's.
Yeah. So I guess, and to touch on the multiple businesses, I think the plumbing business is really what got me into it, because I really had a good idea and a good wrap on construction itself, being in the field and knowing plumbing, which is the most expensive trade that usually you run into when you're doing this stuff. So it kind of came easy to me, so it was just one thing after another. And I'm a risk taker, it's just, that's the way it was. And I kept it going. And like I said, I'm in the 90s now, and I do own a plumbing business, which I don't like to say my real estate is my part-time job, but it's really full-time. We got 5 full-time employees. So it's booming. But my primary focus is I do own a plumbing and mechanical company, and we have about 32 employees. So.
Holy. And how, just because I know someone's going to ask this, but how do you manage all of that?
So, I can handle a lot. I can handle, for some reason, I handle stress well. I delegate phenomenal. So, that's how I really do it. I do have 2 life coaches. So I invest a lot of my time into other people to teach me and to learn. And I spend a lot of money to be in the proximity of high profile people. So I'm always learning. I'm always, I'm always on the road, flying out to see, those people. And so that's, if there's something that you want to spend money on, it's DealMachine and a life coach.
I love that. And that's so interesting that you're like, I can't do everything, so I need this like support. Yeah. So I feel like that's a really big thing.
I actually came across DealMachine in 2015, maybe early 16. So I've had it for a long time. And when I got it, I've always used it like for that first 3 or 4 years. I kind of used it off and on a little bit. And I didn't know, I was kind of small-minded, so I didn't really know what I could get out of it, So I'd mess around with it, and I was kind of worried about the money aspect and, are they going to call me? So once I got a really like grip on it, taken off. I could do a lot better, but like I said, I'm spread out. I also own a restaurant, so I'm like spread out thin, but I have a really tight team. Andrew does my social media. He's watching, and he kills the social media. I have an acquisitions guy, and then carpenters and painters. So
that's amazing. So what I want to know, since you do have now your social media person designated, like what got you thinking that social media was going to make a difference? Like, why was it worth your time?
So it kind of fell on me, you know.
Yeah.
The more I use social media and the more I had to life coaches and they're like, hey, you know, this is what you do. And it's a very awkward thing to have to be on camera and to record yourself talking in front of it. And you kind of feel like people, like your friends are looking at you. It's crazy. You know, you kind of think like everybody's looking at you, judging you. How do I look? How do I feel? You know, I get body dysmorphia. So, I just, once you get over that, which I'm still feeling that, like, it's tough for me to get on the camera. I really, you know, I always tell Andrew, I'm like, hey, you gotta roll. Like when I walk on that property, the camera's gonna be rolling because if I run out of things to talk about, I get nervous. So it's still a work in progress. So I just learned very fast that, oh my God, my following and my friends and the support and the word of mouth, how powerful it was so fast. And it was like, oh, like, you know, oh, Marc does, like, now it's like, hey, Marc does houses. Like, you know, my grandmother passed. Hey, you want to take it? I really want you to have it. I see what you do on social media. And it's so funny that it's so powerful. And I had to tell my social media team member, I'm like, he's like, I don't get how it plays in still. And I'm like, well, it's just like it indirectly plays in. We're not like hitting people with like a call to action every time, like, hey, we buy houses cash, we buy houses cash. Like the way I presented it, I'm like, we're like a higher end, you know, flipper / developer that, you know, I'm just not looking for the quick buck. Like I go over and above, and I want to provide a lot of value and, you know, to the customers that I'm buying them off them, and the people that I sell them to, which a lot of my friends, you know, I'm at like that age group. I'm 30 years old, where a lot of people are buying houses and they can't find the houses in my market. They're like, everything's going over asking. There's nothing on the market. So like, I got to call Marc. So, I indirectly, I think it helps enormously. You know, you tag people tag you, it's a story, you know, it's a story. You go on there and that's why it's called, you know, Instagram stories, Facebook stories, because people want it. People want to, you know, people want that raw. People want to know really what's going on, you know, not just that perfect life that, you know, everybody thinks is on there, like the Notebook, you know. It's like people want to go on there. They want it. Like I put up a post a couple of days ago. It's like the piano. I'm like, it was funny. So I actually had somebody call me yesterday. They have 30 acres in Berkeley. It was a DealMachine lead, and it was from a year ago or so. And he goes, you Marc Mason? I'm like, yeah, how's it going? You know, I thought it was a telemarketer at first. I'm like, hello. So and then I found out it was a seller. So I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? And he's like, you know, the reason I picked you out of everybody else is because this happened yesterday. He's like, I felt like I knew you before I even called you. But he's like, I went on your social media. I love what you do. I just feel like I connect with you. And, you know, and now he's giving me the chance to help him, you know, get out from under the land that he doesn't really want nothing to do with anymore. So I have a ton of stories like that, you know. So, and, you know, not to mention, I mean, if we're going to get on the social media rant, it's indirectly helped me build my contractor portfolio. Like now there's contract, they see what we do. They're like, you know, I kind of got like that nickname that I'm like the shiplap king. So like I shiplap and everything. There's always something I shiplap in a house. I don't know.
Oh, that's good. That's your staple piece in a flip.
Yeah, that's a staple. So, so yeah, the contractors are like, you know, I have no problems with contractors. We give them scope sheets. If anybody needs it, DM me on Instagram, Facebook, follow me. I will give you the scope sheets. If you set them up properly, they work great. You just have to spend time up front and really know what you want for a scope of work while doing the rehab. And the reason I made them, it's a scope sheet. It's probably got 30 or 40 line items on each one. And you have plumbing, HVAC, electrical, carpentry, foundation. I have all types of them. Really where the issue is with plumbing, HVAC, and electrical. Because like, you know, if you don't know really what trade does which, it's easy to get a quote and be like, okay, $9,000, $10,000. Okay, then, but nobody bid the bathroom vent fan, you know? And the HVAC guy is like, well, I don't do that. The plumber does that. The plumber's saying the electrician does it. So I found out very fast that I'm like, whoa, we gotta like, it's too much, you know? So I actually, like, every one of my jobs, the HVAC guy does it. On every one of my jobs, the plumber does this. The electrician runs the thermostat wire, and, you know, I make them bid for it. And I put them on the wall, and they all sign it. They put them on the wall at the rehab, and they all follow it. So if they go back, like, it has, like, you know, it'll have the kitchen design on it. It has the what we're doing for appliances. And if you actually do the work up front with those scope sheets, you're gonna win, and it's gonna go fast. So I would suggest doing them, especially if you're a beginner. I'll give them to you. It might take a little bit of time to work through them, but if you want to call me and go through it, I will help. But yeah, no, that contractors also call me, and I can go through my DMs right now. They want to work for Eastside. You know, they call me and they're like, hey, I want to do your tile work. You know, I get all my contacts from Instagram. They message me and they tag me and they follow me. It's almost like a family. Like the installator is always on my jobs. Like Eastside Property LLC. He's always tagging me. So it's just cool because everybody thinks, well, we're all just a family. We all work together. We all promote each other, because you're not going to get anywhere in life by yourself. What they say it's lonely at the top. So you got to bring everybody up. Everybody creates opportunity and everybody wins. So that's what I live by, you know. And I mean, I'm very good friends with actually one of your clients, Moss Home Solutions.
Oh yes, you told me that. I love them so much.
Yeah, they're absolutely amazing. Became like such good friends. They're from the area, and you know, and we, you know, we're in the same line of business almost, but we bring each other up. We help each other out. We're never afraid to share anything. We work as a team. So that's what it's all about, you know.
So guys, I hope you have a pen and paper, because that was so many nuggets of things that I want. And you actually did the transition I was going to go into of like, so with flipping, how do you find your people? But your people come to you on Instagram, which it's instead of going through like Craigslist and things like that, they're coming to you, which makes them even more qualified. And I do have to go and say, I never really thought about that, especially now I'm going to go put my Instagram handle on my marketing, because you do, again, and we will have his IG up for those who want it. But you do get to know Marc like through your Instagram, and you see the projects you're doing. And it's not just all like, we want to buy your house. It's, hey, look at this project we're doing. I love your before and afters. Though I'm really going to pay attention to the shiplap now, and see if I can find it in each flip that you do. But yeah, I think that's, how did you build to 15,000? Like, was it posting just like every day? Like what do you think really set you apart to growing your following that much?
I think, to be honest with you, the tagging, like always tagging people, hashtagging, just being well known in the area, Facebook ads, Facebook, Instagram, Facebook ads, same thing really. Just a little bit of everything, you know. You have to collab, you know, and you're the best at it, you know. So you have to collaborate with people, you have to tag them, you have to share it, and you have to be willing to give value. Really, you know, people want value, so you have to give it, and to get it in return.
I love that. And yes, collab. I think, and I love that you brought up Moss Solutions, because actually I feel like I hear a lot of DealMachine people like end up meeting up, and then they become like really good friends, and they are in the same area. And so it's not like you're competitors, you're building each other up, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
All right, Dakota, I want to, if you haven't been asking, I know there are some questions coming in, but please feel free to put your questions in the Q&A, and we will either bring you up or we will, Dakota will tell us about it. And do be patient with us. This is our second time on this platform. So, but Dakota's like now the whiz on this. If you haven't joined any of his trainings, you definitely should. They're free for anyone. But that was my little slide promotion. And then also, sorry, I will be quiet after this. As Dakota tees up the first question, we have an offer tonight for you guys. It's a webinar exclusive. I'm going to put it right out there for you guys. So if you join any of our annual plans, you will get free comps and mail sequence add-ons. So that's actually $40. And then you'll get $50 in marketing credits, which is a crap ton of skip traces and a good handful of mailers. So I just wanted to put that offer out there for you guys. It's just for webinar people only who join these. So that'll be staying there. But Dakota, who do we have up first?
Yeah, first question I saw come in here, and I'll broadcast it, was from Alex. And he asked, do you recommend going to trade school to learn the trades and then flip yourself? Is there a recommended path for getting into it?
So you don't need to, but you're going to set yourself way apart from everybody else. You know, when I graduated high school, trade school, I would, people were getting out with $100,000, $100,000 loans. And I was, I had $100,000 in the bank. So I almost had a head start. And, I feel like it's just different, when I was growing up, it was always like, you gotta go to college. And I think it's slowly changing a little bit, because it's just, if you're going to be a doctor or something, but if you really want to, flip houses or real estate or anything like that, or entrepreneur, I feel like entrepreneurship is just getting so real, and people like, there's more and more of it. People are making millions of dollars from a cell phone. Like, 10, 12 years ago, we almost pretty much had flip phones, realistically, right? So, they came so far. So I do think going to a trade school is going to be super beneficial. And I would suggest doing a skilled trade, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, because the rest comes around with it. You know what I mean? Like carpentry, you get carpentry. You don't need to be a pro on how to frame a wall, but if you get the idea, when you're in real estate, or when you're a real estate investor, you're going to get it. Right. I don't know everything. I tell all my team that I'm like, I don't know everything. If I did, it's just impossible. So you just gotta take it for what it is. But I highly suggest vocational school. It set me apart. And not to mention the labor wages they've skyrocketed for any skilled trade.
Sure.
That kind of goes, I wanted to ask you, how did you get to learn about scope sheets? Because honestly, I'm kind of shocked I haven't heard more about them from people who do flip. So how did you start putting that into your system? I guess tell us. I already know the answer, so I'm just like,
yeah. I know we talked about it. So obviously, my struggle, like anybody else's struggle. You just have so much things going on, and things fall through the cracks. Obviously, you try to minimize it as much as possible. And just the way my brain works, I'm like, there's got to be a better way. So I actually done this when I had a full-time job. I started flipping houses when I had a full-time job, and I worked for a large mechanical company out of Boston, and we did a lot of like $1, $2, $3 million plumbing jobs and HVAC jobs. So I think the total company was about 60 million. So what we would do when you're on that high profile job at that dollar value, you need to be super dialed in and focused on what your subcontractors are including in their numbers. It's almost being at like a GC level. Like you're a high-end general contractor. I don't know where you guys are from, but like Suffolk and Gilbanes, they all, when they're going to build a school or a high rise, they all have different divisions. And Division 1 is general carpentry, whatever. Division 22 is plumbing. And what they do is they scope everybody out. In that aspect, it's per the plans and specifications of the job because it's designed. But, and they give you scope sheets. So before they award a project, you get a scope sheet. Do you have the waste piping? Do you have the water piping? Do you have the shower valves? Did you carry the fixtures? Do you have the faucets? And you check it off. Yes, no, yes, no. And that's what they do. And then they award off it. You sign it and you award off it. So I pretty much just recreated it at a different level to kind of fit, that lower tier level at the real estate investing wise, since I just made it a little bit more simple. So it would be kind of like easier for everybody to understand at that level. And it's taken off.
I'm sure that also helps you retain people as well, because they're not getting frustrated.
Absolutely. And it's like, like the ship, we'll go back to the shiplet thing. It's like, it's repetitive. Like the HVAC guy knows, and I use the same guys over and over again. I try to split it between like 3 guys. I usually have like 4 or 5 projects going on at once. So I kind of rotate,
Okay.
and it just, everybody knows, where they're at and where the lane is. So you have to do the scope sheets, and if you start them early, you will actually, you'll get used to them. Cause I'm guilty. I sometimes I start a job without it and it's a disaster. It's just, you're off the rail, you're like, I should have done it. And then you're so far into it, you're like, but it just reminds you to like at this point, I order like the first thing I do sometimes before I even close on a house. And actually I'm buying a house off Moss Home Solutions right now. And,
oh my gosh.
And it's funny we say this. I paid for all the engineering before we closed because I'm getting it's going to be possibly subdividable. So I went ahead. I'm like, I got this in the bag. Like, this is perfect. And I'm buying a house off them that I'm getting 2 duplexes approved in the back. And the deal's like kind of like going like sour, like the seller's going ghost a little bit. And I'm like, shit, I shouldn't have done it, But here we are, but it is what it is. You have to give some to take some. And I go so fast that most of the time I win. Sometimes I come up with a loss, but you'll get to that point when you have like so much stuff going on. It's like you have to start looking at the cash flow. It's like, okay, I got to get this thing rolling. This is where I'm at. So, but yeah, so the scope sheets, you just gotta stay committed. I'm actually hiring an admin pretty soon. It's gonna be my fiance, and she's gonna be, taking over all of that stuff.
That was gonna be my next thing, is like how thinking of all the scope sheets, my brain, which by the way, hello Beth. Beth is on here. She said, Mark, woo. Hi Beth. We love you at DealMachine. But I was gonna say, like, doing those scope sheets, like, how long do you think that usually takes?
So I'm really good behind the, like, I get that. I got the contractors. I have everything. So usually getting the contractors and meeting them is a little easier for me than a normal person that just gets into it, because they're like chasing people down. You know what I mean? Now that I'm like, I'm up there and people know me, they're like, yeah, I want to work for him. So they come right away now, but it took me years to get to this point, years. And I took deals that maybe weren't going to be as much as profitable to stay relevant, because it almost was like, I just say, we got to stay relevant. You got to stay up with the times. You got to create opportunity. Like, was this deal tight? Yes, but we figured it out and we, cut this piece of land off, sold to the neighbor. And that's how creative I get. I just get creative.
Oh my gosh.
I actually bought a house off MLS like 2 months ago, and nobody in my area is condexing these. And I'm going to be the first one to kind of condex this type of house in my area. But I'm like, let's see how it goes. I want to see, maybe I can start something, maybe not, but we'll see how it goes. But that was to going into the market that we are going in now. I think stuff, interest rates are going up a little bit. I'm like, okay, how can we get this house number down to where I have the biggest pool of buyers? So instead of selling a duplex for $600,000, I'm going to sell both sides, for $329,000,
Yeah, I'm just kind of in shock of how much you're doing, like, still with, like, you're saying you got this deal, like, today going, then you had a call yesterday. I know there's more questions, so I could keep asking you, but Dakota is pinging me that there's more questions, so I need to shush. Go ahead, Dakota.
Yeah, I do want to. I know we've had David with his hand up here for a while, so we're going to try and bring him on here.
All right, he'll be our first guest that.
Let's see. I just hit the check.
Okay. I saw a question on here. Someone started trial. Oh, Aiden. Yes, you can take advantage of the promo offer even if you're on the trial right now, and even if you're a monthly paying member, you can take advantage of it.
Looks like we don't have David, so we'll move on to the next question here. Okay, so from Andy, he says, "I'm a full-time landscaping or has a full-time landscaping business and is just starting out in investing." And is concerned about how to handle both businesses at the same time. Do you have any advice on how to handle both at the same time? Would be appreciated.
When you think you have enough on your plate, add more. That's all I can say. You gotta stack it on. You're so busy, add more. I've taken deals. I'm like, there's no possible way. I take them because I want them. And you find a way to get creative. You can bring somebody in to help you. I partner with somebody on a lot of my deals because I'm not available on the boots on the ground. I'm good at the emails and back and forth and analyzing and getting the deals. But sometimes I just slack, especially where I'm trying to grow my other business. I'm lacking the field experience. So I actually partner with somebody that has a different strength than me. They can be there every day, So you just gotta get creative. In landscaping, I can see being tough because, you're grinding it out. But I think you have to take some business courses, get maybe some coaching, group coaching. Call me if you want, I'll help you out. But you need to step back and be like, okay, where am I at? Where do I want to be? What's my vision? Do I want to landscape and be putting mulch on the ground every day? Or do I want to hire out? And where do I have to be to hire people to do it so I can pull back a little bit? And, I'll have to raise my prices, look at my overhead, calculate all that. And just where do I have to be to pull away a little bit, just so you can, spend some time on finding deals, because that's one thing that it's tough to do it part-time when it's easy to do it part-time when the market's a little different. Right now, there's nothing out there. So any investor and every investor is just buying it. And it's fast, and it's usually connections. It's usually, so you gotta hop on it. So I would definitely look at your business. Andy, right? Was it Andy?
Yeah.
Andy, look at your business, see where you want to be, see what your vision is. And you think you have not enough time, then add more on.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard that response, and I like it. You're just like, we'll figure it out. I mean, you've learned from all of this stuff. So like, I mean,
my fiance says I'm a serial entrepreneur.
I mean, she doesn't sound like she's wrong.
I got called that also by I got called a serial investor by my lender, and she didn't mean to copy me on the email. She was like messaging her like, we're tight now. She actually lended my first deal in 2014. We've probably done like 30 or 40 deals now. Lending wise, she's amazing. But she just like talked to her like loan processor, and she's like just pretty much like, shut up and just do it. He's a serial investor, It was class.
Of course, that would be the one that you're CC'd on.
Yeah.
All right, Dakota, hit us with another one.
Yeah, Alex has a great question here. If you could go back to age 20, would you have done anything differently and gone full-time into investing? What made you choose to stick to the trades instead of wholesaling, flipping full-time at that point?
I wouldn't change a thing, weirdly. I mean, personally, professionally, I feel like I live life. I love it. I vacation. I flip as much as I want to flip. I rehab. I buy and hold as much as I want to buy them. I have other businesses. I feel like I have an addiction to building businesses. So I wouldn't have changed anything, because I feel like you progress. And you just got to surround yourself by the right people. It's like, what do they say? It's like you're like the 5 people that are around you. You're gonna grow into that. So like the whole point is your network. Like I have friends that are like, Mark, you're friends with everybody. Like, you're friends with this guy, you're friends with that guy. Like, I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, you know what I mean? Like, the bigger my network, the better, because who knows that one day that guy might find me on the side of the highway and I'm out of gas and he might help me. Who the hell knows? So, I wouldn't change anything. I honestly wouldn't change anything. I would, and I just think God brings you through that path. And, I touched a certain amount of people, different businesses, and that's who made me who I am today. And actually, to hit to your point, I actually know nothing about restaurants. And during the pandemic, there was a restaurant that was going to be opened in my area, and they ran out of money. That had a bad partner, ended up being, a big thing. And I was asked to be part of it. And like the first thing I was like, you want me to finish your failing restaurant in a pandemic? Like you're crazy. And then 30 seconds later, I'm like, how can I leverage this? How can I leverage this? So that's what I did. And I ended up going in on it. I'm a 25% owner. I started the construction in July and I opened it November 2nd of that year in the pandemic. And we've been doing the first year of business, we did 3.2 million in food sales, and they paid the debt off, which was me in the first year. So it ended up being amazing. To go to your point, that was an opportunity from knowing multiple people and being well known in my area. So you really just have to be nice to everybody, give value to everybody, because you never know when someone's going to be in need. And that was a win-win for both of us. I got their dreams to come true. And I've learned a ton about restaurants, and here I am.
And awesome. Thank you, Beth, because she put it in there. It's called the River House.
The River House. They have great margarita flights.
All right.
If anybody wants to take me and the Moss Home Solutions team out to dinner, that's where we're going.
Okay, well, Dakota and I can start packing our bags. We'll just head out
there. There we go.
All right, Dakota, hit us with the next one.
Awesome. Yeah. So next one is about how you're valuing your properties. Are you using the 70-30 formula or so much square foot for your flips? How are you calculating that?
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah. So the question was, do you use the typical 70-30 formula for comps and renovations and all of that, or a different method?
No, that's usually just the method. That's the method I usually use. It can vary depending on the seller and how in need they are. It could go from 0.65 to 0.75. I've taken deals at 0.8. I've taken deals less than that because there was tax benefits. Like I'm a tax guru, so I've learned when you're in real estate, you almost got to learn the tax lingo as well, because you'll get smoked legit. So I've learned to actually the house that I got with DealMachine, that $130,000 flip that I had, I put all the profits into a 1031 exchange, and I bought a 5-family, and it was designed like that because I bought it and I took my time renovating it, and that was just designed because I wanted to be a short-term investment to another short-term investment. So and I did 2 things. I took a huge portion off my tax year of 2020 and then 2021, and then now I got a cash flow passive income property for 22 that I'm just going to hold. And now, okay, I'm going to take that money back out, refinance it, and I'm back to square one. Right. It's a game. So you gotta know your stuff, and don't be scared to ask people. Don't be scared to get coaches. I meet with a CPA coach every Tuesday. So,
wow.
Man, you're meeting with all these people. 2 life coaches, a CPA coach. Probably got a couple more in there.
I'm terrible with the calendar too. So I'm going to just fully disclose, like, I can't figure out my calendar because I have too many emails. And it's like some emails, like, you're in there twice for tonight. So I'm like, I'm just glad you're in there. So I'm like,
we're glad we're in there too. And I get it. All right, Dakota, I don't want to leave anybody out. Go ahead. Tell me.
No, you're good. We have another one from Denise here. Lives in Quincy and ready to get started. Know the business, a lot of knowledge and learning more. But if you had to give just one suggestion or piece of advice, what would it be?
Probably do not be afraid to take risks. Everybody told me to stop flipping houses 5 years ago, and I made the most money in my life within this past 5 years. I felt like I bought a house. The next day it was worth $10,000 more. It's been crazy. And now people are like right now telling me, whoa, there's a war in Ukraine. People's bank accounts are getting frozen. Well, and I'm like, what do? Do you stop what you're doing, just shut down your businesses? Or like, you got to be in the mindset, this is a business. Like, I got to go. You got to drive the car, because people are moving. And if you slow down, if you stop for a second, people are going to move past you, and you're going to be actually going backwards if you think about it, So I would just, go dive in, trust your gut, go in. You're going to make mistakes, failure is success, so you gotta go in. You're gonna, I just put doors in before I jumped the gun on putting doors in 2 days ago. And I'm like, God damn it. It's take them out. We're going to do this and we're going to put them back in because it's the right thing to do. And we're going to move on, and that's it. It costs us $300-500. And that's the part of doing business. So just go face first, go in, trust your gut. Because if I never did that first deal, I would have never done all these deals. I would have never met all these great people. And I would never be where I am now. So just take that first deal, go in, analyze it. And we're surrounded by tons of resources now. So, like I said earlier, people make millions of dollars from their phone. So find somebody on Instagram, like, myself or, Moss or anybody that's like a real estate mogul, and be like, hey, 9 times out of 10, they're going to help you.
Awesome.
Okay, right. Sorry, I was muted. Go ahead, Dakota.
I do that all the time. It's hard to find where the mic is remembering when you were muted last. Okay. So for your social media, this is from Aiden. How do you balance your time with it, or are you allowing your team to post and show themselves too? Do you have scheduled posts? How does that work?
That's funny you say that. That's an ongoing battle. It really is. I am super not available, and my social media employee he kills it. He creates nothing out of something. And so he does great with it because to be honest with you, we post like a couple times a week, 3-4 times a week, but that's stuff that's like repurposed. Like we repurpose a lot. And you have to get to a point that you can pay someone to do it, because I just can't do it. I'm like starting to try to do a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live every time I go to a product now. That's just like a little short-term goal that I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. But, and because that's all I know how to do. Like, I can't edit videos. I do graphics. I don't make myself look good and skinny. And you know what I mean? Like, that's just not what I do. That's what he does. So he does good. So yeah, it's an ongoing battle. And at first it's going to be you. Because ultimately people want you, and you got to be real. Don't be fake. Just be yourself. If you lose money on a deal, say you lose money on a deal, because people want to hear that stuff. They want to hear that real talk, that real time. So I would suggest, like, creating that Instagram, that Facebook, getting everything nice and tight, keep it professional but funny, and just educate, go in and help, ask things. We have a guy in our area named Kyle Curtin, and he's done a great job with, promoting it. It can be just little things. He does a podcast like every couple weeks. And just now I know him as like Kyle, this great he does podcasts. He does, because he stays consistent. So social media is about consistency, and there's algorithms. And once you get into like knowing the algorithms, and how Google works and how Instagram work and how the background of it, instead of just scrolling, you're going to really you'll be eye open. Just do some research on it. It's crazy. There's so much to it. And we've got to spend, I don't know, 30, 40 grand a year on just social media. Never mind advertising and what DealMachine cost and marketing and postcards. And I feel like there's a lot of money involved, but you got to spend money to make money.
Absolutely.
It's very interesting. I'm going to need to talk to your guy because I'm a geek on social media stuff. And the Mosses have a great one too. And I love that you guys all show your faces, kind of like what you were saying, where just being you had a reel come out the other day where you're walking through something. And, but yeah, I just love that it's all very personal. You're seeing your face, you're talking, you're saying, hey, yeah, I lost money on this deal, but like, don't feel bad about it. You're learning and you're probably helping someone else learn too. Yeah. So, and then they know that you're not BSing them, because in this day and age, you can definitely tell that through.
Yeah, 100%. And that's not what people want to see. You got to get people what they want.
Yeah. All right, Dakota, I'll be quiet now.
No, you're good. We actually have a question from Beth Moss. What or who was the biggest influence of your success?
Who was the biggest influence of my success?
What or who? Could be either. Could be both.
Put me on the spot. So, what or who was the biggest influence of your success? I feel like I'm going to take my time on this one.
Beth got a really good one there.
Yeah. I'd say the what the biggest influence was probably my knowledge in the trade and how it directly compiled to how fast and how schedule oriented and how much I know all the other trades, which kind of catapulted me, to move so fast, really. For who is the biggest influence, I would say that I didn't really, like I talked about earlier about bigger pockets and stuff. I didn't really have like that real estate influencer that I'm like, I want to be like that guy. I want to do this. Cause I really didn't know, like, I don't really wholesale. I like just the fix and flips and stuff. To be honest with you, I kind of look up to, I talk to and influenced by a lot of business people, but business is really used on all dialogues of, any type of business, like real estate. It can be, business is business. So if you can make money selling floors, you should be able to make money selling plumbing. It's business, and you hire people to professionally do that. That's that work that you don't know how to do. So I would say my biggest influence is probably, I'd probably say Ed Milet or Andy Frisella. And I just watch their stuff and I'm just like, they just give me a whole new perspective on where I'm at, and where to go and the vision. And, if you're looking for, to get started in like a small group, they do have a coaching group that you can go down like a group call. I think it's $400 a month. And you'll learn a lot from it, so that's how I think looking up to them, because I feel like that's not as far as I can go, but like I'm shooting the bar high, Andy owns, if you guys don't know him, he owns multiple businesses, he's got his Lambos, he owns First Form supplements. He's crazy. He's all over it. He created 75 Hard, multiple books. So it's like, that's who I look up to.
That's awesome.
I say that's a pretty good person to look up to. All right. Can I ask Dakota, do I have a minute to ask one question?
We've got one more question after this. So yes.
Okay. So Marc, for the people that Well, could you explain how you do outreach to these properties? I know a lot of them are referrals from, are you using from your social media, but are you using mail marketing? Are you cold calling? Are you texting? Like, what are the ways that your team is using?
I'll be the first one to come out and say that I'm not really that efficient with my marketing and stuff. I feel like I lack follow-ups. And stuff like that. That's just not what I'm good at. I get kind of the low hanging fruit. There's so much room for improvement on my end, but I do a ton of, I do mail marketing. I'll send letters out. We'll build your list through you guys. I have a couple people that drive for dollars. So I feel like I'm just consistent around all aspects. And then I also have people on Google drive for dollars. And they're just so inexpensive. So, if at first I was a fool and I just let them go right to marketing, but then I'm like, they're tagging everything. So you have to really go through them. So that's how I got that $130,000 deal. It was Google. I Googled some guy from the Philippines, found it, tagged it, I closed it. And that's how it happened.
Well, and now that can be all done inside the website. So now you don't need the Chrome extension in Google.
Oh, see, I didn't even know how it worked.
So now that is brand spanking new as of last week, that now they can see the highlights and they can track their routes while they virtually drive for dollars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good to know.
It's fun. I started doing it more because you can easily, and if I don't like the street pick for it, I can easily just screenshot a new side of the house or whatever.
Yeah. Do you want to virtually drive for us in Boston?
Yeah. We'll talk later. I find it to be kind of like a video game. I'll do it. Well, there's no football now, but when there was football, I just watch the game and then just drive around and
multitask. I like it.
Yeah. Now I don't know. You get my anxiety going up when you talk about adding more and more and more. But I do try to be efficient. So
yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Dakota,
yes.
Go ahead. I know I don't. Okay, go ahead.
That's all right. We've got Andy here. Question back from, he had the landscaping business. He's a wholesaler in the North Shore area. Just wondering if he could add you to his buyers list.
Of course.
We're looking in that area.
Yeah. Absolutely. DM me, introduce yourself. I'll go to North Shore. If the money's there, the money's there. And if I have to drive an hour, I'll drive an hour. If I have to hire somebody out there, I'll take care of it. If I have to figure out a way to do it virtually, I'll do that. So we'll figure it out. Absolutely.
There you go. Awesome. I love it. And then one last question here from Wiley. What list parameters or criteria have worked best for you for finding your properties?
I'm not a master at sending out mass marketing, to be honest with you. But I set my parameters on the loan to value at 50%. And it depends on where I'm at. Like the last one I sent out, Kristen helped me with it. And we sent it out. I was looking for a 1031 exchange, and I teed up the Middleborough house that we just talked about to do a 1031 exchange. So before I got it under agreement, this is how you got to plan. This is what you got to do. This is the stuff you got to get creative on, because I'm looking back at it. I'm like, oh, that was a pretty good idea. So I knew I was coming close to putting it on the market. So me and my team got together like, hey, we got a 1031 this, save a bunch of taxes in, and buy a multifamily. So I marketed to owner, occupied, and investor. I wouldn't do both normally at the same time, but considering that I had money that I needed to spend in 90 days or I was going to lose it and pay a bunch of taxes, I said, screw it. I'm going after both. I dropped $5,000 in marketing, one click, and I landed 9 units out of it. So I got a 1031 April 31st, I think April 20th, something like that. I'm 1031 in that money into it. And, and it's a huge win for the company.
It's awesome.
Hot diggity dog. All right. Oh, I'm slacking. I'm going to put up Marc's information here so you guys can connect. There we go.
There's a shiplap, Elise.
Oh my God. I'm going to have to talk to my graphic designer and be like, that was the perfect picture to grab from him. There it is. You got to work it in somewhere.
Yep.
So definitely reach out to Marc. Really appreciate you being here and just helping our community as well. And then definitely would love if you guys could also connect with us. We actually are collabing with Marc on some of his stuff as well, because he did a success call with us and he went down even further into things. So be on the lookout for that. But any final words that you would like to say to everybody tonight, Marc?
No, not really. I think it's just if you have any questions or need any help or guidance or support, just feel free to reach out to me. I'll take a couple minutes and talk to you, or shoot you a DM and give you my best shot, my best swing. So that's it, really.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much again for doing this. Really appreciate it.
It's great to to have everybody the questions. I loved it. So thank you guys.
Yay! So look out for Marc again, because we'll make him do like a live or something.
Sounds good.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening and happy deal finding.